Hello, everyone, and this is Rob with the Gaming Duo podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. We are on episode 90.
Ooh.
I'm joined by my co-host today, Kevin, aka Binge Worthy Gaming. How you doing today, Kevin?
I'm doing excellent, buddy. I'm doing excellent. It's a pleasure to hang out with you once again.
It's always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Yes, sir.
If you guys are wondering where Kelvin is, our usual co-host, he's actually just had a daughter. He got a newborn, and congratulations, Kelvin. Please take your time with her and do what you need to do.
Absolutely.
We're holding it down over here, right?
We're here. We're here. I don't know if we're holding
Exactly.
it down, but
We
here.
got this for you, dude. And congratulations again. For your newborn. And again, we love you. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But enough about Kelvin.
Yeah,
Binge. What have you been playing? What are you up to?
Well, I've been playing a bunch of different games. I've actually been playing a game on Nintendo Switch. It's called Nexomon. It's very much a Pokemon clone. It feels kind of mobile style, but I've been playing that a little bit on the channel. I've been doing that on Mondays, so it's Nexo Mondays. And then I've been playing a little bit of Modern Warfare 2 with the beta when that dropped. And aside from that, playing a little bit of Vanguard still, and then Pokemon as always. You know how it is.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys are wondering what Kevin from Binge Worthy Gaming does, he's a YouTuber, and that's exactly what he does. It's just binge worthy content. This guy is content.
Right.
This guy is playing Call of Duty. He's playing Pokemon. He's doing Nuzlocke. He's doing Splitgate. He's doing, was it Temtem? What's the name of that one game you're doing?
Nexomon.
Nexomon is what it's called.
It's kind of like Temtem. I know what you're talking about.
Right. So, but regardless, there's just a ton of stuff this guy's playing, and it truly is binge worthy content. How do you have the time to do all this, man?
Well, the trick is lack of sleep, but a very supportive wife. So that's the trick, man.
That's important, right? You got to have that support system to back you up and help you out. But we're definitely going to talk about Call of Duty in a little bit, right? But I think that's a big one here. But let's go ahead and jump into the first piece of news of the week. And this one actually happened today. Google killed off Stadia.
It's done.
It's done. It's done. It's done.
Yeah. Actually,
Google,
as of what? I think it's January 20th, something like mid-January.
So January 18th is when they're completely shutting down the service. So any purchases you made on Stadia, if you bought a remote, you bought any of the hardware, any of the games, you're going to get that all money refunded back to you because you're not going to be able to access your games anymore because the service is gone.
That's huge of them to do that, though. I was kind of surprised to see them at least offer that back, but it makes sense though because they're offering the fact that you made those purchases of those games like at the time that they would always be available, and the fact that the game's not going to be there anymore, you got to get your money back. It kind of makes sense.
100%. Yeah. I mean, you'll be able to still play that content until January 18th. So it'll still be, you'll be able to access that. Kind of the big writing on the wall here was they shut down its first party studio last year. So after that happened, we're like, kind of red flag. That's not great.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing too here, it didn't continue. It continued to give you new games, but it wasn't part of the subscription. You had to buy the game. So you had to buy the Stadia subscription every month.
Yeah.
And then you had to buy the games on top to be able to play them. So
yeah,
I mean, if that's,
I know when they first announced Stadia, their tagline was it's like the Netflix of gaming, but it was actually more like Amazon, because when you play on Amazon, I mean, you can buy Heyo subscription, you have to pay for extra things within Amazon. It was much more kind of like that, right? But
yeah, 100%, and I think that's 100%. What do you think, actually? Before we move on, Xcloud or Xbox Game Pass had something to do with it?
I mean, I think it's always got a part of it because it's so much easier. It worked way better, and it's just a better collection of games, right? So it's just, if you're going to compare the two things, why would you shell out more money for something that's going to offer you less? And the latency issues and stuff that it has, the lag. So it seems like an easy choice if you can choose out of two.
Yeah. So I actually have Xcloud on my Steam Deck, and I play it, and I was kind of on the fence about cloud gaming's not there. It sucks. There's going to be that latency issue. It's never going to be, it's never going to be adopted. And here I am being able to play hundreds of games on the game, however many they have on Game Pass. and
Bunch,
I
yeah.
hit play, and boom, I can access. I think there's 2 Assassin's Creeds on there. There's a ton of different and Mortal Kombat 11. Like I'm able to play it right then and there. And don't get me wrong, like here and there, there's hiccups, but for the most part, for not having to install anything and play right there, it's actually pretty nuts. Have you ever gotten a chance to play on Xcloud at all on any device?
No, I've never played an Xcloud. I do have Game Pass. I just got a new computer recently, and like it comes with like a free subscription for it. I haven't gone that route yet, but I mean, there's enough games on there that does pique my interest. I've never done it yet, and I'll never probably get a Steam Deck either. So
Right. Maybe I'll let you just borrow mine for a bit so you can try it out. You
no,
know,
you wouldn't.
I'll go drive up to New Brunswick. Is that you're in New Brunswick, right?
New Brunswick. That's it.
Yeah. See, NB baby. But yeah, I just think that a huge part of it is kind of xCloud did it so well and flawlessly. Yeah. Game Pass is just killing the game right now, and Stadia just refused to. I think it would have been different if they would have at least included the games.
Yeah, that makes sense
with the subscription, but the fact that you had to like buy every single game and then you can play on the cloud, and then you don't really own the game.
No,
and you like, never really own the game.
This is proof of the pudding. Like you essentially had it out on loan, and you're just getting your money back now, right? So,
what would happen if they didn't give back the money?
Oh, I don't know, man. I mean, what are you going to do if the service is gone? I mean, people would just boycott Google, but I mean, Google's everything, right? So,
right, and this isn't actually the first time that Google does something like this. So, yeah. I work in the tech industry, and let me tell you, Google is notorious for just like adopting something like a platform and it's being like, we don't want to do it no more. So I think that's another thing that people were very skeptical of, is that they had just their track record alone of having these things and then just dropping them. People weren't sold on Stadia because they know of Google having that track record of not supporting these things after a while. They just see if it's not lucrative in the first, couple of years, you're like, nah, we don't want to deal with it. So,
well, they like from the outside, they see that there might be a possibility to monetize and jump into this sphere. And once they realize that they're kind of like out of their element, they pull that plug pretty quick. So, I mean, it's better than let it just bleed, right?
That's 100% true. I think too, it's how do you compete with Nintendo, Xbox, and PlayStation?
That's it.
They've been in they're juggernauts. Like you're jumping into the ring with them. It's going to be tough. Even Amazon's having a hard time right now with Luna.
Yep.
Right. Do you see Luna taking kind of like the same course?
I mean, maybe in time. I just think initially when they're launching this idea, I think they were trying to find a niche, and they were trying to be like, the consoles are old school, kind of like, television. And now Netflix kind of replaced Blockbuster, things like that. And they were trying to do the same thing, but they didn't have the catalog for it, and they didn't have the support for it. So it would never work.
100%. And just to show you too, I'm going to pull up some of that Google graveyard I was talking about. There's actually a site dedicated to the services that Google provided. And these are some of them. Like we have conversational actions, Google Currents. There it is right there. Look at that. Google Stadia. It's in the graveyard, killed by Google.
Wow.
That's so funny. Off to the glue factory in 4 months, Google Stadia was a cloud gaming service combining a Wi-Fi gaming controller and allowed users to stream gameplay through web browsers, TV, mobile apps, Chromecast.
Did they?
Right. Exactly. It happened today. And it will be about to be 3 years old. That's so funny. I didn't realize that they updated it so quickly. But yeah, just like YouTube Go, Google on the Hub, like these are all of the things that they've killed.
Well, it just shows you the power of perseverance. Like obviously they've tried, tested, and they're still here. So, it's the power of putting out a good product. I mean, but just canceling the ones that aren't working. And that's the proof of the pudding right there.
100%. I mean, at least they try it and then say, you know what, this is not our lane, but at least we tried that lane to see if we can do it. And you know what, they didn't do it, and that's it. So I don't know. I also, one note about the controllers is that you can still use it to navigate through YouTube and other Google apps. So it'll still have some functionality outside of Stadia.
Yeah. Honestly, I kind of knew the writing was on the wall. Like I didn't know that they closed the first party producers, but I did notice my local game pawn shop
Okay.
The controllers have been building up in the case. No one's buying them; they're just selling them off, right? So I'm just like, that's not a good sign.
Wait, there's actually Stadia controllers, just like people were
Stadia
selling.
controllers, just like they're in a certain case, and there's like 4 or 5 of them. And I was just like, no one's buying those, man. Like, okay, interesting.
You know what? I actually have never seen a Stadia controller in real life.
No, honestly, it's not exactly the same, but it looks like it's got that matte feel. That remember the Ouya? I don't. I don't know
Yeah,
how
yeah,
you
yeah.
pronounce
I know
it.
what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It kind of reminded me of that a little bit, but
yeah. So I don't know, man. Me and Kelvin, I remember when this thing first came out, and I was like, Kelvin's like, "Are we gonna get this? This sounds pretty sick. Cloud gaming. You could just play on the go, on your
yeah,
TV, on your computer, on your phone, like right then and there. Sounds like a good idea." But I think as soon as they said like you have to buy your own games, we were like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm
turned
good."
right off.
And that could have been something like funding wise, and maybe they couldn't have the publishers, sign off being like, no, like we're gonna have the game included into your thing. I think too, it just again, Xbox just took off, and same thing with PlayStation. They just took off. They're like, if anything, they learned from Stadia being like, that's what not to do.
Yeah, exactly. And you kind of brought it up as well, where the Game Pass is like so successful, and the most recent launch of the Steam Deck. Do you think the launch of the Steam Deck had anything to do with it? Now that there's another thing out there that can do the thing they're competing with, and it's kind of already taken off. Do you think that maybe put
That
the nail
could
on the
be it,
coffin?
right? Because you can do like Steam Link onto your Steam Deck and
Yeah.
play on the, do the link there. Yeah, that is pretty big. And I know Logitech and who else? Someone else, I think Xbox are teaming up and they're doing they're coming off a new console. I forget the name of it, but they're coming off a
Okay.
new console that's just basically based off cloud gaming. Again, seeing the route Google went to, it's probably not going to do. Again, cloud gaming is great. It's just not there yet to be a standalone thing, in my
Exactly.
opinion.
Yeah, it's
So,
kind of like way back in the day when they tried VR and stuff. It's like it's just you guys are too early. You wait a couple decades and then we'll be there. You know what I mean?
right, exactly. Like once your kids are older,
Yeah.
cloud gaming might be like a thing that's like the new thing that they're doing, right?
Yeah. Although I got a kid in double digits, man. I'm getting old.
Oh man, well,
Yeah.
excuse me, dude.
Yeah.
Gonna start calling you grandpa soon.
Absolutely. Grandpa binge, right?
Well, let's move on from Stadia. Rest in peace. We didn't. I
Yeah.
don't know if you'll really be missed, but at least you tried, right? There's that.
We provided the best eulogy we could in like a
Exactly.
day's notice.
So the Call of Duty beta
Yep.
was out this past weekend, right? And essentially, I just want your thoughts on the beta. I want some feedback. I want some let's pretend we're writing a letter to Activision and being like,
Okay.
this is what you need to do better, right? So let me just give you some dates here. So it started the 16th and 17th. You had early access beta for PlayStation. So if you pre-ordered the game, you could have got the beta. On the 18th and 20th, there was the open beta for everyone on PlayStation. On the 24th and 26th weekend, it was open beta for PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. So they opened the floodgates this past weekend. That's how I was able to play. I didn't pre-order the game yet. This game is coming out October 28th, and then it's Warzone 2.0 is coming out November 16th, so a couple of weeks later, and the game will retail for $70.
$89.99 here because
Sorry,
I had to buy
yeah.
the cross-platform bundle. They won't let you buy it just PS5. I had to buy a PS4 version to go with it. It's kind of pissed me off. The same thing happened with Vanguard. I was like, I don't need the PS4 one, right? But I had to buy it digitally that way.
Really? Can you get into more
Really.
detail about that? Because I don't think it's like that in the States. So
Yeah.
explain, what do you have to do for you to get the PS5 version? Wait, what? Yeah.
So if I just go to the eShop, or if I just load up like Warzone or Vanguard, obviously it's going to be like, hey, here's the shop, here's the new game coming out. When you click on the link, the only option that's available to me if I buy it digitally is the cross-platform one. So I got a copy for it for the PS4 and a PS5, but they charge a little extra because you're technically getting a second game that you don't need. But I didn't even want it. I didn't even want it, right? So
there's no PS5 only version for Modern Warfare 2 in the Canadian market.
if I were to go to the store, I believe if I went to the store and pre-ordered it there, I could just buy the physical disc, right? But digitally, that's the only one I've seen available. And again, that's the same thing happened to me with Vanguard. So I just get extra digital games for no reason.
Wow, I had no idea that was you had to go to that digitally. So
Yeah.
you're definitely buying it digitally. You're not going to the store.
I already got it. Well, the problem was I was under the impression that in order to get the beta, I needed the pre-order already. I was wrong, so I just pre-ordered at that point. I was already going to get it anyway. So,
what are you going to be playing it on? What system choice?
PlayStation 5.
PlayStation 5. Obviously, we just talked about it. Yep. So after playing the beta, what are your initial thoughts?
It's Call of Duty, so it's more of the same, but I like the route they're going in some regards. In other regards, I think it's not quite the gameplay I'm used to. For instance, I'm used to a much faster pace. If you've played Vanguard, it's fast. There's a lot more sliding. The gameplay, you're running really, really fast. I found as soon as I loaded up the beta, I was like, dude, I feel like I'm running on the sand or something. Like your character is running very slow. And again, that's just not my style. I'm just like a run and gun kind of a guy.
Wow, interesting.
But,
okay.
Yeah, that's my impression. But then upon talking to other people, I guess what they're looking to do, they're looking to slow the game down and focus more on the one-to-one gunfights. So I'll take that for what it's worth. We'll see.
Trying to be a little more tactical with the game.
Right? Yeah.
Did you try all the game types? Domination, team deathmatch?
Yep.
More or less the same. Search and destroy, all that fun stuff.
Yeah. Invasion is a little interesting. It felt like it's trying to be a little bit like Warzone without being Warzone. The problem I ran into with Invasion was it's like 50 versus 50, but there's a lot of but there's a lot of like literally computer players out there. So there's real players and then there's just literal bots, not just
I don't know
players.
if I like that. I don't
it
like
was
that.
Weird, dude. So like I was mowing down the bots, no problem. And then once you actually kill a player, you have like an extra 5 points. So I recognized that like that's an actual person.
Oh.
But like the bots themselves, I'm like, dude, they're just lining up.
Oh yeah, it's just like but it feels good because you're actually, getting them and stuff like that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like
not
doing anything. Like,
yeah, right.
Yeah, there's like running in circles and stuff. So I mean, they're gonna fix those things. That's just the AI just being a little goofy right now. But
did you get a chance to try the third person mode?
I did. I've never really been a third person shooter kind of guy. It kind of reminded me a little bit of like Fortnite or something, right? It's just I've got some friends that play a lot of Fortnite, so they're like, "Oh my god," they're excited. For me, I've always been a first person guy. I'm a GoldenEye 64 dude.
Gotcha.
I just got to see that gun in the hands, right? So.
Right. I found that was pretty interesting. Like I tried it. I think it's a welcomed addition.
Yeah, absolutely. Like any extra modes they have. A couple of the perks to it is because you have a third person vantage point, you can kind of like curve the camera angle a little bit and you can see around some corners a little bit better. So there's some advantages to it. It's just, again, it's tough for me to get used to, but I'm going to keep playing it.
Right. You actually don't feel the gunplay as much when you do it on third person. Like the gun, in my opinion, felt a little more generic when I was in third person, especially like hip firing it or something like that. But when you went to go into first person, if you went to go aim down the sights, you would actually revert back into first person and show that way. So I thought that was pretty interesting the way they did that. Yeah. I like I said, the beta for me was mostly good.
Yeah,
mostly good. I want to say it's the most excited I've been for COD in a long time, right? And I think it's that Modern Warfare name. It's always what it is, right? You know, it's going to be quality behind that.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, again, I agree with you. This is the first one I've actually pre-ordered since, I don't know, Black Ops 2. So it's been a hot minute for me to actually get one. The only reason I got Vanguard is I happen to have some friends that were playing it live online. So I was just like, well, I got to join the party. So I was kind of late to that one too. But I like this one. This one looks pretty good.
What would you say you did? What didn't you like about it? What were things that kind of stood out that were like, they need to fix that? This doesn't feel right.
Well, like I said, if they could speed it up just a smidge for me, I'd appreciate that. There's a couple bugs that I encountered throughout, but again, this is beta. I was expecting some bugs. For instance, like I called it, like I made a short, I called it Quicksilver mode. Literally everyone else was frozen. I was running around, right? And that's kind of fun, right?
That's actually pretty sick.
Yeah. So I was just like, okay, that's interesting. But again, that's going to happen in a beta. Actually, there's a lot more to it that I liked than disliked. I heard some people talking about there not being red dots on the radar and the radar map actually being a little bit smaller. So you can't get as wide a field of range of what's going on. So there's some complaints about things like that. But as far as I know, I don't think they're going to rectify that. So
let's talk about two other things. The kill streaks. What did you think of the kill streaks?
I I honestly don't think I got too many of the kill streaks.
Damn, you suck, man. Come
I'm not that
on.
great.
Come
Honestly, like I said,
on.
I'm a run and gun kind of a guy. I definitely got what did I get? I must have just got like a loadout drop or something like that. But I can't remember what I got because in Invasion you can get the loadout drops. But
yeah, so I remember there was a bomb drone. Did you get the bomb drone?
I did. Like, yes, sorry, I did, and that's always been kind of tough for me. That's just what like the default setting was. So it's tough for me just like stand still and then like something's happening and your character's just getting killed. Well,
right.
But yeah, I guess I did get that one at least. I didn't get a nuke. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. I think they did a good job with the kill streaks. Again, I've always been with Call of Duty and kill streaks. I'm like, like once you hit like 6 kills, you're pretty much like getting positive KD. You're mowing down the team, right? Because of those kill streaks. So
it gets a little nuts when the other team's like rocking a bunch of like bombs everywhere. You can't even move. Like you spawn, you die, spawn, you die. I'm like, that gets a little too wild for me, right?
Right. And I really do wish they kind of toned down the kill streaks when it comes to COD. I feel like it kind of takes away. Yeah. And I think that's why Warzone is nice. Warzone 2.0 is coming out a couple of weeks after.
Yeah.
And there's no kill streaks. There's not going to be any kill streaks. There's no loadouts, which is awesome. I don't know if you're a big Warzone guy. Are you a big Warzone guy?
I've been dabbling. I've been trying to get into it a little bit. I've been enjoying it more now that I understand what I'm supposed to be doing because it's obviously completely different than Vanguard and other CODs, right? But no, I've been enjoying it.
Yeah. And I think when Warzone 2.0 drops, I think it's going to be another breath of fresh air because again, you don't get the loadouts that like every single person in the meta is like using the same exact, M4 kitted out M4, and that's it. This is whatever you find in the field. That's what you get. Like you have to literally, scrounge up and find whatever you can get, and it's.
I also heard that like there's going to be actually specific spots for ammo and specific spots for like healing and like armor and things like that. They're not going to necessarily all be in the same spot. So you're going to actually have to search for those things. They're not going to be as readily available. So like a little more strategy to it.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, I think that this COD is on its way of, being solid. It felt like COD, right? That's number one. Feels like COD, plays like COD. You can't really mess COD up. You really can't.
No, but you really can't.
You on the other, I know with you love Vanguard.
Yeah.
But you're one of the few people
I'm one of the few.
Vanguard.
Yeah, honestly, and even when I start playing MW2, I'm still going to be playing Vanguard on the channel because I feel like there's going to be people that aren't going to jump ship. So there's going to be a little niche there I'm going to try to cater to. But no, I just like it. Like I like that old school feel back in the old war days and stuff, right? So but I've also liked Advanced Warfare, right? So Advanced Warfare, Modern Warfare, and I like the old school ones too. So I like them all, if I'm being honest. I'm not as picky, right?
Is there one you dislike the most?
I don't know if I disliked it, but the Advanced Warfare one, like the booster packs or the jet packs.
Yeah, that was weird. That was so like
it's just tough to get used to. But like once you only play that one and then you jump to like a regular one, you feel weird. Like, I can't jump high. Like, what's going on, right?
So one thing that was hard for me to get used to in this one was the sliding and the jumping.
Yes.
That was weird.
Yeah. So the slide canceling, that's a big thing. Is like in the middle of a reload, you can like slide and cancel and you just kind of back into the gunfight. They took away that, but some people I guess been trying to find some workarounds for it. But I was never a big slide canceling kind of guy, anyways. But
yeah,
do you see they slowed it down? That's what they did.
Right. And the slide doesn't feel, I guess I'm used to like Apex Legends. Their sliding is
you slide across the map.
Slide across the map. Whereas in here you have like just a little baby slide, you know what I mean? Like you're sliding into first base, like that kind of slide.
A much more realistic slide though.
A much more realistic slide. You're 100% right. But that jumping dive, I feel like is going to come in handy for Warzone when you're just like trying to go into like a body of water. And you're just trying to like run away and just like dive into the freaking river. That's gonna be sick.
Because you can actually do gun battles in the water, can't you?
You can, but we didn't see that in the beta.
No, we didn't see that in the beta. No, so
yeah,
we'll see.
So again, game's coming out October 28th. It's gonna be $70, $80 if you're Canadian. I'm sorry. You gotta
always
go through. Yeah, exactly. So let's move on from Call of Duty and let's talk about another shooter, Overwatch 2.
Nice.
So Overwatch 2 is dropping in October. And in order for you to get the old Overwatch players, you have to play 100 matches. So, and the reason why they said that is because they want new players. They're calling it the first time user experience. They want you to like, they want to ease you into the game.
Okay.
All right. And they said the second phase of the game is after you get the 100 character or 100 matches.
Oh, really?
So,
Okay.
and the reason why they're doing this move is because they don't want to overwhelm new players with all the different types of champion and all the unique heroes and stuff like that, and easing people into it. What do you think of that?
The eye roll.
Yeah, what are you thinking about this? Like, do you think for Overwatch? First off, Overwatch being free to play. Let's start there first. What do you think of Overwatch being free to play?
I think it's interesting. I don't know if I can remember a situation where the previous iteration of the game is essentially just going to be dissolved into the new one. So Overwatch 1 is gone, right? So that's interesting. But the fact that it's free, it's just like, hey man, like it's hard to complain about it. All the old characters, skins, all those things will technically be in it. Like you said, you have to unlock those guys after 100 matches. But the fact that those things aren't gone and it's just literally like an upgraded version of it, I mean, I think it's a win.
Do you think it's weird the fact that how they announced it? Like, this is Overwatch, but it's Overwatch 2, but it still feels like Overwatch, and it's a little different.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird the way they announced it.
It's almost like a version, like an update. You know what I mean? That's what it more feels like. It's like 2.0 now.
Right. I can't even tell you like another game that had like a similar experience as far as like what they're trying to do here. But do you agree with this? Do you think that they should ease us into it, or do you think they should just let the floodgates and you should kind of pick who you want and that's it?
I've got a friend, for instance, he plays Overwatch on Mondays. Shout out to Poogie Shot First on Twitch. So he plays Overwatch on Mondays, and he's always Mercy. He always plays as Mercy. So it's Mercy Mayhems on Mondays, and now he's going to have to grind. So he's going to be grinding to get Mercy back, right? So I think that's kind of the key. That if you have like a main that you're going to be missing, they're going to have those OG players coming in and like grinding. So they're going to have all kinds of people in there. That's what they want. They want some traction. So I think the classic people are going to come in and they're going to like flood the servers, which is a good thing for them.
I think as much as like I don't agree with it, I think it is a good move because it forces the player to invest the time to actually go into their game, play those 100 matches. But do you think there probably won't be a huge drop off because now they just unlocked all the old characters again.
Exactly. Yeah. Who's your main?
I don't really have a name. If I did pick someone that I like, my go-to, Orisa.
I'm a Soldier 76 guy. So when I play with them, I'm like, guys, I'm just playing Call of Duty. That's how I have to think of it, right? So just the guy that can shoot and just run. That's me.
Listen, he's a good character. I like him a lot. I know they changed the name of the one. Is it Cassidy? Who used to be McCree, right? And Cassidy is a new one. You get 32 heroes. So after you beat 100 games, you will get 32 heroes unlocked, it seems like. So you get a new hero to try every 3 matches, basically. So it sounds like it's a good deal. The fact that it's kind of like, think of it this way. Like Super Smash Brothers, right?
Exactly.
You start off with 8 characters. That's it. That's who you get. You play 100 matches, you get all 76.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that's what they want. They want people playing the game. And because you have to unlock them, you're going to be playing it even more. Because if you would have just played, I want to play 5 matches tonight. Now you're going to be like, let's play 10 or 15 because you got to get those numbers now. So,
yeah. Are you going to be playing it? Are you going to be
I will be playing that because I usually join him alongside his Monday night streams. So, late night Monday, if you guys go to Binge Worthy Gaming, you might be seeing me play Overwatch 2.
Late night Monday. We might have to check it out.
Absolutely.
All right. One last thing before we are done with the news for the week is there is a new Pokemon leak. Who is this Pokemon that we just got?
You're gonna show me a picture that I haven't seen yet. I've been trying to hide from the leaks.
But you don't want me to show you it?
People are curious.
Okay. All right. So
I've seen a couple of them, and then I'm just like, I don't want to see any more. I want this to be a surprise. But
do you want me to ruin it for you right now?
Spoiler alert for everybody. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. This is a new Pokemon that is going to be shown. And it is, where is he? He's right here. His name is Wiglet.
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 Wow. Okay. So is that like a baby form of Diglett?
No. So based on what
I don't like
some
it.
articles are saying, or what some people are saying, is that it's related to Diglett,
Okay.
but it's not Diglett.
So it's like a Nidoran boy, Nidoran girl situation?
No, it's just a completely new, because it's not a variant. You know how they do the variants of like a low and variant, like blah blah blah. This Pokemon is a not a variant. It's actually its own thing, which is weird. It's the first. I feel like it's one of the first time they're doing it where like this is clearly a long Diglett.
Yes.
Clearly.
It's a little phallic too. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Yeah, it looks a little. Yeah, that's been going through the. It's a false variant, is what Poggy's saying right now.
Yeah.
It's related. So
I don't know how I feel about it, and I'm assuming when it evolves, it's gonna be like looking like three fingers or something. But
so it's supposed to take after like it's an animal called, like, I think it's like a mole. It's like one of those little things that stick out on the ocean floor. It looks exactly like that, but I feel like they were really, really, really lazy with the design.
yeah, you get that from time to time. So what your hopes is, if it's like a first stage Pokemon and it's kind of lazy, you hope they kind of go nuts a little bit by the second or third. But back when I was talking about like that Nexomon game, surprisingly for like a knockoff clone game, there's a lot of characters in it that I'm like, dude, these could pass as like a next generation Pokemon.
Yeah.
That does look lazy though.
It does. I mean, I'll show another image here of them. I don't know how I feel about it. I just think sometimes they're hit or miss. You know,
That's it.
They're hit or miss with these designs.
Wiglet.
Like here's him right here, and like it's not Diglett.
No, it's not Diglett. I don't even know what to think of that, man. It's like it looks like a joystick or something.
Oh, there he is. So we're gonna watch this little.
Oh, let's watch it.
Go watch it.
What a terrible announcement. This is Wiglet, right?
Here we go.
So
there's Diglett. We got Diglett.
Yeah.
it's literally water Diglett.
Well, it is a water type. I think is it like water ground? What is it? Just straight water.
I think it's just water. I think it's straight water.
When it's like
I don't like that. Down, I hate that. I hate that so much. That, you know what that looks like. You know exactly what that looks like.
And the fact that it's a water type is gonna be squirting too, right? So
Yep.
Yeah, that's,
so
that's
super weird. Probably the weirdest Pokemon yet they've announced.
Give it time. You got to see what it evolves into, because that's gonna be kind of weird too.
Do you think it's gonna be 3 in a row, or like, what do you think?
It's gonna be like a Wig Trio or something. I don't know.
A Wig Trio. I hope that's the name of it.
It's gonna look like 3 fingers coming out of the ground.
Oh man. Yeah. Game Freak has been lazy since Gen 2 and on.
We got Poogie.
Yeah, Poogie. I agree. I agree to some extent. I think some of their designs, like the vanillish, I don't know, the ice cream cone one.
Vanilla Light, Vanilla Lux. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty lazy. You know, they got lazy.
Trash bag, right? Garbodor.
Right. Kelvin's chiming in saying, only right for Kevin to take my place for this episode. Kelvin, again, congratulations on your baby girl.
Good job.
Seriously. But yeah, Kelv, what do you think of Wiglet? Do you hate it? Do you love it? We'll see what he says.
I don't think he's gonna like it.
No, what about you, Kevin? Do you like Wiglet?
No, I don't. But what do you guys think, right? If you guys are watching this, leave a comment.
I'm going to make an entire Pokemon team of just Wiglets.
And Wig Trios.
And Wig Trios, if that's the name of the Pokemon. Or you could do a Diglett and a Wiglet together.
It's so weird. Yeah, the fact that it's not even like a regional variant, I don't even know what to think of that.
That's weird that they it's 100% a regional variant. Like that it's just a stretched out Diglett. That's all it is.
That's it.
In the water.
They should just call it that region's Diglett. But
I forget the name of the region already, but whatever that region is. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know why they did that, but it's weird. So enough about Wiglet and enough about the news of the week, man. Let's go move over to in-game chat.
Let's do it.
Oh, let's do it. All right, buddy. This fall, we have a stacked lineup of games. Stacked. All right. We have Sonic Frontiers, God of War Ragnarok, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Dying Light 2, Callisto Protocol, Crisis Core, Final Fantasy 7, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Overwatch 2, Gotham Knights, Bayonetta 3. Holy crap. Yeah. What is your most hyped game for fall 2022? Don't tell me. Don't tell me.
Pokeballs here, there's Pokeball there, some Pokemon back there. So I think it's Overwatch 2. I was joking. Is
it Just Dance? Is that it?
It's Just Dance. My room's a little small for it, but no, okay. It's definitely Scarlet and Violet, guys. Come on. Let's get some hype down there.
All right. I mean, obviously, we just talked about Wiglet, right?
Absolutely, right?
Okay.
It's like a thumb coming out of the ground, right? Like, yeah.
Oh my God. I hated that you did that. Poogie saying Overwatch 2. That's a fantastic choice. I mean, you can't go wrong with Overwatch. But why? Why Pokemon? I know you're a huge Pokemon. Other than the fact that you love Pokemon and you're the Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
Why Scarlet and Violet compared to that stacked lineup?
It is a stacked lineup. I will preface that I am also excited for Crisis Core Final Fantasy 7 because I have the original. I'm a Final Fantasy fan almost as much as I am a Pokemon fan. So I am excited for that one as well. I do play again with Poogie Shop first. I play Overwatch. So I'm excited for those things for like collaborative reasons. But like for me personally, I haven't been excited for a Pokemon game since like Sword and Shield. We've had a couple duds the last couple of years, and this is the 100%. First time I'm kind of jazzed up for it.
I agree with that. I mean, we had Legends Arceus, but that's not a true Pokemon game. It's more not. In line of like a spin-off, right?
Yeah,
that's what it is. Because I don't see them making other ones like that. They might do it eventually. Actually, I saw your YouTube short, where you kind of showed a little bit of your collection out. So if you guys want to go check that out. And you have a pretty impressive Pokemon collection with the games. You have Pokemon Conquest, which is not a really well-known game.
Exactly, yeah.
You had the Coliseum. You had Gale of Darkness. So you have a lot of rare ones. And believe it or not, those actually are a decent amount of change now.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, I buy a lot of stuff at my local pawn shop. And those things are fetching quite the price. It's like $200 for the GameCube games. But Poogie is calling me out. He says, Binge lies. He was so excited for Legends. That is true. I was excited for it because it seemed like it was offering something different. But then once you're in there, it felt
empty,
a little too open. Yeah, a little too open for me.
There wasn't enough. It was just kind of focusing on here. Go explore, catch the Pokemon. You don't really have to fight them if you don't want to, because you can kind of sneak behind them and just throw a Pokeball at them.
Yeah.
So it didn't really like force you to actually want to fight. And the fact there was only like maybe 5 Pokemon battles the entire game, I'm like, you went like too crazy with cutting that off.
Yeah, exactly. Right. We got a little bit too much of what we thought we wanted, and they didn't offer us anything in addition to it. So.
Right. So yeah, I mean, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet's a good choice. I mean, as a Pokemon fan as well, I'm super excited for it, more so than I was last year about the other ones. And I think this one might even be better than Sword and Shield, because I'm kind of lukewarm about Sword and Shield. So
okay,
I can't really remember the last time I was like super, super pumped for a Pokemon game like this one. This one actually feels like I'm like coming home almost, right?
Gotcha. I was also pretty excited back in like the Sun and Moon days. I'm currently playing Ultraman on the channel, but like those games, it felt like everything was there. Sword and Shield, everything isn't quite there, so it's gonna be nice.
It's gonna be nice. What?
Hopefully, like all there finally.
Okay. Yeah, I think the last one too is the last one I played was Black and White too. I thought that was like the most complete game too. I think it had everything that you could ever want in those. Yeah. So hopefully that brings us back. And then obviously we're going to see some DLCs for it, which,
absolutely.
That is what it is. As for me, my most hyped game of the year, I kind of want to cheat and say 2 of them, but I'm not going to. All right. There's a ton of ones, but I'm going to have to say God of War Ragnarok.
I knew it was God of War. I knew it. After listening to you guys on the podcast, I'm like, I know you guys are jazzed for that. So
Me and Calvin were on last night on PlayStation, and we're talking, and he's actually replaying through God of War right now, the original. Okay. And at first he was kind of weird about the game. He didn't really enjoy it as much as he thought he would. But going back in it, he's like, wow, this game's actually super fleshed out, and it's a beautiful game. And the one thing that did suck was the enemy types were very similar to each other. They didn't really mix it up with the enemy types in that game.
Okay.
This game looks to change that. It looks like they have a ton of different enemy types, and it's that same adventure, but even bigger scale. And again, this game has been developed for quite a while, and the boys and girls at Santa Monica know what they're doing, right? They know what a good game is, and I think it's going to be a flawless game. I honestly think it might get a 10 out of 10.
Really?
I think so.
Fun fact, I've never played a God of War game in my life.
Not even like the originals?
Dude, I've never even like watched a person play it. Like, so I feel like it'd be interesting if I actually started playing like the most recent remake and then jump into Ragnarok afterwards, because it'd be all fresh for me.
Listen, the remake or God of War 2018 is free on PlayStation Plus if you have it.
Yep.
Go download it. You're going to get the PS5 version of it. So it's going to be in all of its glory. You won't have to pay extra for it, I promise. If you're,
I'll send you the bill.
Yeah, I mean, that game just looks incredible. Everything that I've seen, I'm just like, after a trailer is shot, my mouth is just wide open. I'm like, oh my God, the voice acting, everything's there. I'm a big story guy. I like good stories more so than game. Like, I'm not really into the open world thing anymore as much as I used to be. I used to love open world games.
I think Elden Ring kind of burnt you out a little bit.
I think so too. I think I just like went crazy with that game, and then now I'm just like, okay, I need train. I just need like just put me on a train and let's just go. You know.
I think that's what happened with me in Legends Arceus. Like, I got Elden Ring and Legends Arceus. Like, it felt like the same day, and I'm playing them side by side. I'm like, there's just a lot of running around going on right now in my life.
Yeah. Let me just back to Pokemon though. What do you think of being able to tackle all the gyms at any time?
I don't know how I feel about it, but I remember watching. There was like an anime on YouTube. I think it was like Pokemon Origins. So in that, I remember there's like a scene where you go fight Brock, or you're watching Red go fight Brock,
right?
And because he recognizes what level you are, he selects the Geodude and Onix, so it's an appropriate battle for you at that time. But there's other Pokemon there. I think it must be something like that. So they're gonna have.
I didn't notice that detail.
Yeah, because like there's like a little drawer that opens up. And there's like 6 Pokeballs, and he literally just grabs 2 because he knows what you have, and then he fights you with a team that's appropriate for your current level. So it must be kind of like that. So if you were to attack like Gym 1 early, they must have like, okay, this is like a typical,
like it would automatically scale based on the level you're at.
I think that's what's going to happen, because otherwise, like, you can't just run into essentially like Giovanni, the 8th gym leader, and you just started. Right. So it must scale like that. I don't know if that's a fact, but it would make sense to me.
You know what? That theory might be right. Do you know why?
Why? In
Kanto, when you played in Red and Blue, right? You went through all the gym leaders.
Yeah.
In the original, you can actually skip the 3rd gym leader, Lieutenant Surge, and use them for later, right? If you really wanted to, like, you didn't really have to go through, like, some people beat Sabrina before Blaine or after Blaine, right? So there wasn't really like a set path in that one too. Like, obviously there was like, this is what's recommended, but you could bypass 1 or 2 if you wanted to. So
in Gen 1, you do have to do Brock, Misty, and then from there you go to Vermilion to go fight Surge. But then like the last 4 or 5, you can do them whatever order you want, with the exception, I guess, with Giovanni, because that's kind of story driven.
That exactly.
Yeah. But that's kind of open world, I guess you want to look at it like that.
But again, proving your theory, think of Gold and Silver.
Yep.
When you come back into Kanto, you're fighting the gym leaders again, and they're all super high level. They're exactly matching what you are.
Exactly. So, but in theory, they're still kids setting out on their adventure from Palatown. So Brock wouldn't be sitting there with like a level 58 Kabutops and stuff like that. He wouldn't have those things. He'd be fighting that kid at an appropriate level.
Right. 100%.
So I think it might be something like that.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be really cool. It's kind of like set your own adventure and just do it at your own pace. It's not it's still like you're still able to do the gym battles, and it's not this like linear path and story, because again, RC's kind of had that. This is kind of like welcome, because like we're giving you freedom, but like enough freedom to where like you're not going to get overwhelmed. So,
like I said, welcomed.
yeah. And again, like I said, this fall has a ton of good stuff. You really can't go wrong. I mean, Callisto Protocol looks freaking sick, right? That's like the Dead Space spiritual successor game, and Call of Duty coming out. Like that's a juggernaut. They can't be missed. And then, I don't know if everyone's gonna say that's like their favorite game of all time. It's just like automatic, right? I don't think it's their favorite game, but it's just there, and it just exists in our lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah, again, for me, it's with Overwatch on Mondays, and then I play. Usually, it's like Vanguard, what it was on Fridays. It's just for me, it's the opportunity just to kind of hang out with the boys for a couple hours, right? So,
right.
A new version of that.
Well, guys, again, we have a Stacks Fall lineup, and we'll report back once those games come out, and we'll be able to play them. But before we end the show binge, let's do Would You Rather questions.
Sure.
All right, let's do it. So I'm going to ask you 2 questions.
Okay.
Would you rather have physical games or digital games?
That's an interesting question. As somebody who collects games, I found over the years that the games that I truly want to keep and hold on to forever, that like the list of franchises that I want to collect have dwindled. And I actually do like having digital games on my console, so I don't have to like swap out the discs and stuff. And
okay.
In terms of becoming a YouTuber and doing things online, having digital is much more easy. So I don't know.
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think if you're a collector of said thing, the physical, especially as now we're getting older and the things we had when we were younger are becoming vintage. Exactly. Again, we said your collection with the Pokemon stuff, like some of those games are like $150 now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's pretty nuts how that's happening. I mean, I have a couple of games back there that are now older, and you enjoy like the cover art, you enjoy the booklet inside and the case and the actual, it's like almost like a piece of your memory there. So
exactly. But at the same time, like now that the Switch is here, like Switch has been around for a while, but I was kind of late to get in the Switch. I've got some games, like I've got all the Final Fantasy games, but I also have some of those Final Fantasy games repeated on the Switch just to have it in handheld mode, right? Because I don't always have access to the TV. If the wife's home, the kids are home, they tie up the TV.
Right.
I've got those games still in a different way. So I've invested, double time on some of these titles.
100%. And I think that's the sweet spot with like special editions, right? Like collector's editions that come out. Those are specifically for like, they fetch a pretty penny, but if you're truly a collector and you love this series, this is what's for you. We're giving, actually, that pisses me off. I just thought of something. I pre-ordered the God of War special edition for God of War 2. Yep. And I get the case, the steel case, but I don't get the disc.
I don't know if I like that.
Stupid, right? Stupid. I get a code for the game, but like when I'm like, 70 years old looking at my collection, I go, "Oh, I love this game," and it's just not there. It just doesn't.
That being said, I mean, let's just grab a game right off the shelf. So here's Octopath Travelers. There's really not much in here. Like I've got the game in my I've got like a collection over there, but like it's not needed. You know what I mean? So
right, exactly. So at this point, it's
get a steel version of this, and for like a tiny little thing, like
it just doesn't make sense, right? Exactly. It's not as novelty anymore. I get it. Yeah, I think that's my answer, right? Is if it's physical for something I'm collecting, digital if it's just like more of a everyday kind of thing, right? Exactly. Like Call of Duty. I would never want a physical copy of Call of Duty because I'm like, I'm not going to go ahead and I'm never ever going to take that disc out of the console. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I remember in the past, like I do have some Call of Duties that I purchased in the past because I'd either get them on deal or I'd get them a little bit later than everybody else, but I'd get the physical copy because at the time, like digital wasn't a thing in my head. In hindsight, those things are worth like a nickel, right? So
yeah,
I may as well have got them digital at the time. So whatever.
So I think it really depends on the game. If it's like Pokemon, you probably always want to go physical, always.
Exactly. And again, in my head, there's a justification that there's like a resale value, but I'll never sell them. So
you'll never sell them. You're never like, yeah, exactly. Like you're like, ooh, it's worth this much money, but like deep down your heart, it's like, I'm never going to sell these. These are not.
Exactly. Yeah.
Next question. Binge. Would you rather erase Erase the Call of Duty franchise from existence
Okay.
or the Halo franchise from existence.
Halo. I've never touched it. I've
What?
never touched it in my life, dude. I've got a Master Chief helmet up there.
That's why I picked that question for you, because I thought you were a Halo fan.
Never once, dude. The closest thing to Halo for me is like
Oh
Split,
my
which
goodness.
isn't even
I
any
thought
close.
you were a Halo fan.
Not at all, dude. So that's
All right,
an easy one.
I'll change it. Pokemon, Call of Duty. You're gonna pick Call of Duty. You're erasing Call of Duty. Yeah,
Call of Duty's got to go. Man.
Yeah, exactly. He says delete COD. No.
Even Kelvin's saying Halo. Pookie says,
wow, you're saying Halo 2, Kelv. You're crazy. Yeah. You guys are nuts. You rather get rid of that cinematic masterpiece that's Halo.
The thing is, Call of Duty, they come out so frequently, they've got much more opportunities to improve on the games. Halo is just like, you'll get that thing like once a decade, and I don't know. Like, I could do without that. Again, I could do without Call of Duty, but I mean, the fact that I play with friends that play it, and I have a PlayStation. I've never really been the Xbox guy, so that's the other reason.
Listen, it would be a lot easier for me to say if they never came out with Warzone for Call of Duty, like the Battle Royale. I would say I don't care about Call of Duty because I wasn't ever biggest fan of like the team deathmatch stuff. I got all that for a while, but
I'm a team deathmatch kind of guy. That's where I kind of started it with Call of Duty, and zombies. I played a lot of zombies in like Black Ops 1 and 2.
Oof.
But that's not even like, it doesn't feel the same anymore there. So
I'd say
Kelvin.
For Halo, based on just like the memories alone that I had as a kid from Halo 1, 2, and 3,
okay,
I don't want to erase it, but like 4 on, I'm like, it sucked. It's as soon as Bungie is done with it, it's like crap. Whereas like Call of Duty is more like utility belt, like it's always there, it's always going to be there. It's like your everyday carry. So I guess I would pick Halo too. Kelvin's right. Yeah, Halo.
All right, I'm gonna flip the script on you. Ready?
You guys flip it.
Okay. What are you gonna keep and what are you gonna get rid of? Persona or Metal Gear Solid?
Oh my god!
I flipped the script, kids.
Oh
god,
you asshole!
Let's see what you got. See, that's how well I know you guys. I listen to you guys too much.
I love Persona. I really do.
I know you do.
But I'm getting rid of Persona. Metal Gear is just you can't get rid of that. That's a piece of history right there. That's yeah. I think everyone's gonna say rid of Binge is what he eats. You're what you eat.
I'm what I eat.
Yeah. I'm getting rid of Persona. That was an easy one. I think Kelvin too. I think kick this guy out, man. Forget what I said.
You got to rate the feels there, right?
Yeah, you did. I know. It's like, like Kingdom Hearts and Persona is actually a harder one than that. That one's hard. But again, it's probably Persona. Persona is like, that was like a newer love thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But guys, that is it for the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Every Friday where we put the new episode up at 7 a.m. Eastern time. Binge is always streaming. He's just, I don't know how the man does it, but again, there are so many things he streams. Just give like a quick round of like, what are you streaming like right now?
Well, I'm trying to have myself a set schedule, but it's impossible with the family. So Mondays I've been doing Nexomon, so it's Nexo Mondays. Tuesday,
Mondays, love that.
It used to be Pokemon days, so I just kind of transitioned that. So Tuesday is actually an Ultra Moon series I'm doing. It's a Nuzlocke. Tuesday is Legend of Zelda. I just started Link's Awakening. Wednesday is Breakfast with Binge. If you guys want to hang out with me in the morning with a cup of coffee and some breakfast, that's where I'm going to be playing a little bit of Shining Pearl, actually. Thursday and Friday, you'll find me playing Pokemon or a little bit of Vanguard. And then weekends, it's a crapshoot. We'll see what happens.
Hey, you know what? I love the coffee with Binge, right? The morning with Binge. I did actually tune in for like 1 or 2 of those because I work from home. So when I'm on my laptop here, like my little desk back there, I like to just have you in the background, and it's nice. I'm just like, I'm like working, but like Binge is here and hanging out, and
a little white noise in the background, right?
And,
or Caucasian noise in the background for this instance.
Right.
But and sometimes I'm late, so it goes from Breakfast with Binge to brunch with the Bingy Bunch, right? So that's what we do.
Oh, brunch! I love the names you guys. You have there. But guys, check out his channel. It's Binge Worthy Gaming on YouTube. Again, truly binge worthy content. Can't get enough of the guy. Again, thank you guys so much. We'll be back next week with Kelvin. He'll be back, from paternity leave. Well, his gaming duo paternity leave.
He just gave birth himself.
Yeah. He just did it. You know, his wife was right there. You know, just you got it. Push. You know, he did all that. But thank you guys so much, and please leave us a review on Spotify, Apple, 5 stars, please, if you like the podcast. Right? I know you've done it, Benj. I know you've done it. I'll have to ask you always. Love you, man. Thank you guys so much, and we will catch you next week. Have a good night.
Peace.